Okay, here we go. Good morning, everybody. We are here for an early morning. Well, it depends where you are, I guess. An early. It's 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern time. LJ Ruiz is here. We have lots to talk about before LJ takes off on his trip to Spain. Are you
Yes.
packed?
No,
You're not packed.
no, I always pack as I'm walking out the door to the airport. So
Oh, that's smart. That'll
yeah,
help.
and then
Yeah.
I get there and I have random stuff. If you a fun fact that I didn't know, I'll show it on the camera
Okay.
because my sister's been there a couple times and she had to give me this because supposedly they don't have the same chargers that we do. I did not know
That's
that.
true. I remember when I went to Germany once and they didn't have, I was like, where are the chargers? And they had this like the bulky thing
So
with
this
the,
is like a converter, so you can plug it into here and then you just plug this part in. But it's pretty cool.
yeah. So other than that, you're ready. All right. Well, before you leave, we've got you for one more episode before you take off on your journey. We have lots to discuss. Uh,
Unless something absolutely insane happens and we have to jump on a 9 hour difference Zoom call.
true. I mean, something insane could happen, and then we would have to figure out the 9 hour time difference. How are you reachable?
I have luckily Verizon lets us have roaming, so we could text on my Verizon.
I was just drinking my coffee and there was a pen cap in it. Okay. Anyways, all right. What a great weekend that we just saw in professional wrestling. Just incredible. We're going to talk about Sting's final match, his farewell AEW Revolution, and touch upon some of the other hot topics with Cody and Seth and the build up to WrestleMania and Paul Heyman and things of that nature. But I think we should start with the biggest event, which was Sting's final match and farewell at AEW Revolution. And I don't, it's up to you. Do you want to go first? And wait, I just want to say the interesting thing about all of this is that we have very different perspectives, being there's such an age gap between the two of us and the generational, how wrestling is so multi-generational and goes down generations and generations of people. So for me, I've seen Sting's most of his entire career, and you came into it late.
Yeah, I didn't like I said previously, I didn't see Sting, once I started really watching wrestling and like it wasn't just my parents putting it on for me. He was already in TNA. So I knew who he was. I knew that the dream match was always Undertaker Sting because they kind of replicated each other in the two companies. Sadly, we didn't ever get that match, which we probably should have. But um, I was I'll never forget watching. Like I said, that's how long I've been watching at my uncle's house. We were watching Survivor Series, and and then the crow noise, and then it's Sting, and my uncles went crazy because they had been watching, his whole career, and I thought it was really cool that he finally signed with WWE. So that was what the run that I saw, and then but way before that, I would because the WWE Network, I went back and watched all like the WCW matches and all that stuff, and it was he's one of the best. I mean, you could probably say he's top 10 just workers in general and just the sport of the like the company. Yeah, he probably didn't, sadly, I wish people do say they wish he signed earlier with WWE because he probably would have had a longer run and a better run than he had the few years he was there. But he
Yeah,
he's one of the best.
it was the greatest. And I have to say, as the long time, my favorite wrestler of all time, and following his entire career, I'm gonna just say this. This is my opinion. Here's my opinion. Bravo, AEW, Tony Khan, and Sting for the farewell. That's my opinion. It was perfect. And I was reading so many online reviews from the New York Post and other outlets. They all said it was the perfect finale, a perfect ending. I honestly couldn't have been more emotional and delighted that they did it. I finally thought they did him right. I felt
Hmm.
all the other places did him dirty. They had him and they didn't know what to do with him. That's what I thought happened at WWE. Like they don't know what, I don't know, because Sting selfly admitted, even in the media scrum, he's not great on the mic. That wasn't his thing. He wasn't a
Yeah.
mic skilled guy. That is why how brilliant it was. when he was in WCW and that whole year storyline played out of Sting in the rafters, and he never spoke. He never
Mhm.
said a word for over a year. Like he just looked, had no words, and all you wanted to see was this guy because you're like, oh my, and it was all done in face,
Mhm.
eyes, all the language, and not a word said. Over a year, and it carried the entire show and competed against WWE in the
and
Monday
and
night.
and beat it. Yeah, and beat it.
And he never said a
Basically
word. Never
for
said a word.
all those weeks that it was beating WWE. I definitely I'll say about Sting because I'm one of those people, I don't know if you agree, but I'm a sucker for like I love face paint on guys. That's like one of my that's why I think I'm obsessed with Jeff Hardy because I think that's just all part of the look.
Yes, hold
And I
on, my
think
chair is stuck. Okay. Yes, Jeff Hardy.
so, I was always like, I always thought the guys that did face paint were so cool. That was why I was always attracted to Sting, even though I didn't really watch him growing up. It was always cool to see. I liked guys that did their own makeup, and Goldust did it, and I thought it was super cool. So then, let me ask you, what face paint or style of Sting was your favorite?
See, that's a hard one, and I just have to go back to give you your answer. I loved so much his sons. We're jumping around, but they came out in face paint in
Yeah,
different versions of his career. I think the Surfer Sting, the first NWA Sting, it was cool, it was clean, it was Surfer dude, it had the face. I love that. And you cannot, and then of course
yeah,
it would be Crow Sting coming down from the rafters. I mean, because they literally figured it out. Like they're like, we had to retool this entire show, WCW. They had to fix it.
yeah,
And decided once they had the NWO that he was going to be, as you point out, was he going to be joining the NWO or was he going to be the antithesis, the good versus evil? And they had the perfect guy to do it because I believe that his truth is in the he is a good guy. So it's just like he's not good at playing a bad guy. Like
yeah. I mean,
that,
and when you have those, personal stories like we talked about before in the last episode, like it just shows you like how a guy that does like was so willing to do something as so small as that, like on a company that wasn't that, like
we were not small. We were Sony
no, I'm
Picture.
saying like the fact that he's so okay with doing stuff like that, it's just like how John Cena, never wanted to turn heel for, reasons like that. So I mean, I guess he was never really heel ever in his career. I would
There was
assume,
like
right?
a moment in WCW. There
Yeah,
was a time where they did a little bit of it, but it never. When
it
they
never
did,
fully.
it
Yeah,
was a tease, and he ended up being good. Like he
yeah,
never. He was just like you were saying with Cena. Like the fans didn't. They wanted him as the hero. They
yeah,
don't want
yeah.
to see him bad. So take me through your watching Sting's farewell. You said you were with some friends.
Some
That
friends that don't watch wrestling, yeah, they just were in
oh,
my
you had
room.
Revolution on.
I had it on the main TV in the living room because I was like, I have to watch it, and they were like, yeah, we don't care, we'll just watch it with you. And then, yeah, I mean, one of the things that I'll say about AEW is that it's happened a couple times now. My friends and roommates that I've been living with in college, they all know I watch wrestling because I watch it a lot. Even if I'm just watching in TV, I'll just watch. If I'm watching you, if I'm anything I watch on YouTube is wrestling related, whether it's an actual match or somebody talking about wrestling, a podcast, anything. So it's been a couple times now, but more this past weekend was my friends are watching and they're watching Will Ospreay and Takeshita go at it and Sting the whole entrance, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is so cool! Like, is this what I've been missing out on this whole time?" And they've also watched WWE, and the one thing I'll compare is that the casual fan or like just somebody that doesn't watch wrestling is a lot easier to watch AEW just because the in ring is so good. So it's you can I've always said, and especially on this podcast, you can tune into a pay-per-view for AEW and get hooked. But I personally, when you talk about the week to week, the storyline's a little bit better in WWE when it comes to writing and storytelling. But then, like we said, like I mean, you throw on that Sting match. I mean, you got Darby
Okay,
Allin jumping off a
okay. I mean,
ladder
okay,
onto
but yeah,
glass.
I know.
It,
I mean,
it was honestly like insane to watch. Like I thought I mean, I personally feel like that was their best in ring work they've ever
I'm
done.
wearing my AEW sweatshirt in honor of. I have to give them kudos. I
Yeah.
really think it was. probably the best pay-per-view. And I
Yeah,
hate to say that because I'm such a Sting fan and had that in there, but the Sting thing was so great.
yeah,
Can you tell me, so when you saw, you made a great point to me in a conversation, the buildup of him coming to the ring, they let the Jacksons come, Matt, they let the Young Bucks come in, Darby came in, all attention turned to the
yeah,
screen, and they
yeah.
have him sitting in. And what I loved about it is they did go close up on his eyes. You saw him kind of like, it looked to me like he was teary at one point. He had some emotion in his eyes, and he's watching his career flash by. And I'm like, oh my God. Now, as a Sting fan, I'm like, this is amazing.
Hmm.
How
Yeah,
touching you said, but there were no WWE clips in it. And I'm like, ah,
yeah. I mean, I do wonder if they ever will go into detail of that. I wonder if people were saying on Twitter, and I agree, or X, I was one wondering if he even wanted that in there, like the WWE stuff in there. You know what I mean? Maybe he didn't. I don't know if he just wanted to, keep it to what he had, or maybe
it's a licensing
um
money deal.
maybe they didn't even ask because I don't know because maybe because I know that they might have just not even asked AEW if they could use it. But I just thought that stuff like that is what AEW is lacking, is like the video packages, like the video packages in these WWE pay-per-views where like it's always before the match. They're so good. That's the one thing they're really good at. That they excel
I
at.
agree.
And whoever was behind, we said that he was very big on creative for this Sting, but
Great.
whoever else was behind it and made that package and put it together, that's what they're missing, and I want them to do that more for everybody else
I
because it
thought,
it
I
makes
agree.
the match feel so much more important.
I just get you so revved up and emotional before you even came out because the package was so great. It was a great package, and I'm
It
saying
was it
that
was awesome, and and then like I said, the part of and I guess that's part of why I've admitted it that I'm I guess a WWE guy is because I am personally more attracted to the entertainment of it and like the entrances and the look and all that. And then the in-ring stuff, I'm not that in like I don't really mind the in-ring stuff. The in-ring stuff is just a plus at that point. So when I see Sting's entrance and Metallica hits, like I because I love Metallica. Like that's like one of my favorite bands ever. So when I was feeling he was gonna come out to that, which I was very happy he did. And it just makes everything so much better. I mean, I don't know if as a Sting fan, were you hoping it was his,
I kind
regular
of wanted it
entrance,
to be.
the classic?
I
Yeah.
thought it would be the classic, but I don't care. So I'm watching and I see Surfer Sting, and I'm like, who the hell is this? At first, it
First of all,
didn't.
they look exactly like them.
They all look alike him. I'm like,
It's so cool. It's literally like the two younger versions of him, but they look exactly like him. It's crazy.
it was crazy. So I'm looking and I'm going, who is this? What's going on? That's not him. I don't get it. And then when the other son popped up, I'm like, oh my God, it's his
Yeah, it
son.
was so good.
And he comes out. You don't think that? I know that meant everything to him. He wanted
Yeah.
his.
Can
He
you
said,
imagine that?
can
Yeah.
you imagine like going out with your sons, emulating different parts of your career? You have three Stings coming to the ring. It was gold. It
Yeah, because
was.
like, like, you could have had guys do that like like, that weren't your sons, but then when they're your sons, like it probably means so much more. And I was gonna say like it's just crazy because like we've seen so many guys like for example the guy who was there, Ric Flair. It seems like he just can't retire like 'cause he just loves. I think he just loves it too much. You know what I mean? Guys like they just love wrestling, so that it's just hard for them to officially retire. So I can't imagine like I do wonder what went into finally deciding like all right I'm gonna just choose this day as my last match. And it's kind of random because it's just in the middle of March. Like it could have been
Well, it was
like
because of Greensboro, and they wanted to
yeah.
tie that
So
to 1980.
so I wonder like because I mean I'll be honest like I know he's obviously older and like he's been wrestling for so long, but like I feel like he still could have done the match because he didn't wrestle a lot, but he probably could have done a few matches like once a year if he really wanted to. You know what I mean? But I guess he just really was willing to put it up. I just wonder, what is next for him. I wonder if he'll be on screen or if he's gonna just affiliate like
I don't know.
fully retire.
I was really worried a couple times when he said, "Did you happen to see the phone tape recording calls? Do you know about that?"
I'm not
So
sure.
Darby, I'm going to have to send you the link.
Yeah,
They did the Players Tribune interviews. Sting
yeah.
did.
Which were great. All those are great, by the
They
way.
not
Like
amazing.
like like
They not amazing.
Yeah,
where
like
they
every single one, like every Players Tribune article is like so good. Like it's
Sting's was so wonderful, and
yeah. And
Dark.
also I just like that I like that as fans, like I like that wrestlers get the opportunity to
I
also be
was
on there.
I know I was like, oh, I can't read
You have
this.
guys like Derek Jeter and like A-Rod like getting their like articles and then
A little known fact you don't know about me. So my favorite all-time baseball player was Reggie Jackson. My
Mhm.
favorite Yankee was Reggie, but Derek Jeter was my guy. So
Yeah.
when he players, I love Derek Jeter. Like
I think I'm pretty sure he created the website. I
did.
think
He
so. Yeah.
created Players Tribune.
Yeah.
Makes it all even better. So I'm
Yeah.
reading the Sting article and Darby about Sting, and then didn't Jericho write? Like they all were so great. And to your point, there were moments when there's a tape recording, LJ, and they gave it to him after the Players Tribune interview. It's all his family, wrestlers and friends telling him congratulations on an amazing career. His daughter, um, Paul White, like all these people, and he's listening to it, and they have his real-time reaction listening to
That's
it.
awesome. Yeah.
And then there was a second version of it that was put to clips.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
I've never seen that for anyone in
Oh,
WWE or
oh.
anywhere else. I mean, they never did that for anybody, like the way they did this. So fast forward at the media scrum afterwards, and in the thing with the tape recorder, he goes, "Oh gosh, I don't know if I want to leave now." And I'm like, "Oh God, don't change your mind, you know." But I think he's one of those guys, like the professional athletes who retire, who could have played 4 more years or 2 more years. Let me go out on top when I'm okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like he has the sensibility of that kind of athlete and star to not
Hmm.
overstay his welcome.
Yeah.
And I thought he did it right. I don't want to see him hobbling around like Ric Flair. Like
Yeah.
that would upset me. I'd rather have him go out like this. Maybe he can't get away from the, like we've talked about this, Ric Flair, all these guys, the adrenaline rush of going out there and being there. They're so addicted, they can't stop, even
Hmm.
when it's time for them to stop.
That's
And
why, that's like you said, like you're saying, I do wonder if maybe he'll like he wants to be like, an on-screen character, just not wrestling. But I just feel like that would be kind of maybe like in a few years, like maybe he comes back and like a Darby has a big match and he comes out as his manager
that
for
could
the match.
be right. He
Something like
could,
that would be really cool.
or
You know
he
what I
would,
mean?
or work behind the scenes at AEW. They kept the door open, but I think
Yeah.
it would be weird to go through all of this and then like 2 months from now be like, I'm now, and
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I definitely think
I,
if anything ever did happen for some reason, I don't think he'll ever fight again. And I definitely think it wouldn't be smart, especially with the way if for some reason it went tragic, and it was a terrible match and it was a terrible presentation, maybe you think about it. But it was so perfect, you don't have to. He has to be okay with it. Like he has to be okay with what they did and how it
oh
went down.
my gosh, I'm
Yeah,
telling you, he must have been just overjoyed. He
like
had to
he's
be.
gonna look back and watch that. I mean, I don't know. I've seen a good amount of, luckily, I feel like my generation, when I started watching wrestling, I got to see a lot of retirements because that's when all of the guys from before me were retiring. And I mean, that has to be one of the best ones I've ever seen. I mean, I can't put it I guess I can't or I can't put it past like a Shawn Michaels one because that those two matches that they had with Undertaker were, I mean, probably match of the years like that year. And maybe I'll put Sting's above his because Shawn Michaels ended up coming out of retirement for that horrible match in Crown Jewel, which I know he regrets a lot. Um, so like something like that, we don't want to see Sting do is come out for money and fight at 70 years old against
Oh,
like somebody
and
else. You know
again,
what I mean? Like,
right,
and
and again,
I think he's okay with not doing that. He doesn't seem like the most self-centered guy at all.
no. And Tony Khan said he's not doing it for money. He's very well off. He saved his money. He's not one of these guys that we know of. I've never heard this. He set himself up properly. Like he didn't like squander his
The
money.
one thing I really like about Sting, especially in the post-media scrum, is how open he is about like taking steroids and all that stuff. I think it's really cool because some guys like to deny it and act like they didn't. And I think it's dumb when you do that because like you just be honest with people as a human being. And I really like that. I mean, it was so sad to hear him say that thing about Ultimate Warrior, how he's like, yeah, I mean, I couldn't wait around for him and I had to stop doing that. and he didn't stop, and then like basically saying, "Look what happened."
I
So I mean,
cannot believe, yeah, I was just going to say, I was literally listening to this, and I cannot believe in my lifetime that I became friends with Ultimate Warrior.
yeah,
I mean, literally doing a radio show with him in Phoenix, Arizona, becoming friends with him, having lunch with him, producing him in a radio studio. He wanted to do a radio show, but we became friends.
yeah,
Insane. Now he was
mhm,
insane. And then I befriended at that point Sting.
yeah,
I literally was like, this is, and it wasn't like, oh, how great. I was like, how, amazing was that?
yeah,
I mean, truly amazing. I cannot believe I'm sitting at coffee shop with Ultimate Warrior. And did I tell you about this? So we're having coffee and he pays for the coffee and gives her the card. And it says Warrior on it. And she goes, is this right? He goes, yeah, Warrior. And like everything was Warrior. That's how his,
yeah.
it wasn't even Jim, it was Warrior. So you had to call him Warrior.
That's so fun. That's so cool though. I mean,
25 years later. And when he died, I was very heartbroken, but that you could see coming.
yeah, I mean that one was just weird to me because like he literally was on Raw the day before and then passed away the next day, which is so weird.
Yes, and I knew a little bit, I knew Dana a little bit, but I did know we literally spent a lot of time together developing this radio show he wanted to do. So back to Sting, yes, he mentioned Jim and them separating and going
Yeah,
their ways. And it was just like if you're a historian and love wrestling, listening to him talk, there was so much in there. And then just the humbleness of him. It was very humbling. I wanted to get your take on the match because remember you said I wanted him to go out a winner. You said he'll have to drop a belt.
yeah,
And they didn't do it. And that was
yeah,
the best part of it. You
yeah.
let him go out a winner. You did not defile the legacy of this wrestler by having him drop a title because you can't figure out what to do with the belts. I
Hmm.
thought that was I love that.
Yeah, most guys don't go out on top in their retirement match. It's just like how it goes in professional wrestling. I think you even had like guys like Kurt Angle lose to Baron Corbin at WrestleMania like in their last match. But it definitely, watching it, it was definitely the right decision. I thought the match was good. I thought they had their spots. Obviously, the crazy one was just Allen jumping off
Okay.
something
And
into real glass.
I do want to address that. Like I literally the one thing that was weird about it, I just didn't see Sting as somebody who would want to agree to let's pull out glass from underneath. That was a little weird to me because Sting was the one that pulled the glass out.
Yeah, I think Darby might have just told him I'm not listening to you. Like I'm just doing it anyway. So
Right. And then of course everybody was on them, and I want to get your opinion on this because of the Jack Perry going through glass.
mhm.
And so Darby, obviously this was the plan. He was going to go through the glass. Did Darby not realize he was going to get cut to shit and
I guess
like
he just
bleed
didn't
out
care. I
on the
mean, he really does
floor?
not care. It's crazy. I mean, you even have Darby like, for example, like I mean, he even like does like those like I think it's just like he does like I'm pretty sure he like skateboards and does like those crazy like stunts and stuff. So like he doesn't even care. Like he really does not care. I mean, he should be more safe. And I hope somebody does, eventually they tell him like, hey, you're gonna have a 5-year career if you keep doing this. So I mean, like, it's cool for now, but you know,
But was it cool? I was distracted.
I mean, I
I wanted
enjoy
to
it,
watch the
but I
I mean,
definitely
yes, I know it was cool, but what were you doing when Sting's in the ring and Darby's laid out and aren't you worried about look what's
yeah, no,
happening
you definitely like, or is this guy gonna have stitches right now in the middle of the ring?
or where is he? Where is
Yeah.
he?
I
I
can't
just
even imagine. Like I was telling my friends, like I literally get like I was joking around. I was like, bro, like I get hurt like when I get a paper cut. Like, and then imagine his back, like what it feels like.
and he goes like at the end he goes at the end, right?
Yeah.
And he's trying to help Sting figure out the timing at the pay-per-view so he doesn't get cut off. And
Hmm.
he's like, I gotta go to the hospital and get like, I gotta go. I'll see like a man if we were that, we'd be like, oh my God, hell, like get out of here. He's like, I gotta go to the hospital now and I'll be back. And he's bleeding.
Yeah.
I didn't get it. It was just, I don't, I don't know.
Let me ask you, what do you think? What do you think happens with him now? You think he's gonna have like start of a? You think it's gonna be kind of hard for him to be on his own if he's by himself? or do you think he'll figure it out?
I think it's a very weird thing with him. He's a tall man, but he's a slight guy. And
Yeah.
it always looks weird to me when he's going up against these bigger guys, like that they just toss him around,
Hmm.
but he's one of the staples of the company.
Hmm.
Um, and don't they have him set up in the match with Jay White on Wednesday? It's his first match. They're gonna have to give him a push. I can't imagine.
I really would like to see him hold the singles title. Like I
Yeah.
really would.
I mean, I think that's where they have to go, unless there's a whole storyline about replacing a Sting as a new partner. Like, who would it be?
They haven't said what they're doing with the tag titles, right?
They have. They're gonna do a tournament,
It's wondering, right? Yeah, I figured.
which is
So I
great.
wonder if he'll join that.
Yeah, I wonder if he'll have a surprise new partner
Yeah.
and it's so and so. And if they were smart, it'd be somebody big that they bring in that we don't know is coming. But
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
don't know. What did you think about the end? What did you think about the brothers getting in, the sons getting in the ring and wrestle and like
Yeah, I
sit
thought it was cool. I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. And there's some really cool pictures, like still pictures of them like jumping off and like smiling. It's really cool. I like it. It was really nice.
did you think so then did you saw it go off the air, right? He was talking and
Yeah.
it went, and I thought the purpose was though they wanted him to do the YouTube clip,
Hmm.
save it for the YouTube clip. So then they do the YouTube clip.
Yeah.
And what do you think about that part? Do you think,
I
yeah,
No, I mean I enjoyed it. I mean I was kind of confused why I got cut off, but then I eventually found it and I watched the rest of it. I mean it was you can tell even it's funny because you said the thing about the talking, like you can even tell that he's not like the greatest at like even giving a farewell speech. Like he doesn't really he's like shy. That's what it seems like. He seems like he's very shy.
very shy.
Yeah.
He doesn't say a lot of words,
Yeah.
but he's very smart. I'm
Yeah.
just doesn't like
I mean, he's kept his body in great shape. I mean, he doesn't look bad at all. I mean, and I'll just say, like, I mean, I know
did
he's
moves. He did moves in the match.
yeah, like I always, they're gonna get compared like their whole careers, but like him and Undertaker, like, towards the end of his career, he could barely walk. And I mean, Sting really doesn't look like he's had anything major like happen to him. So I mean, and he's wrestled nonstop for 40 years. So I mean, it's really cool. I was gonna ask you, do you think because they were debating it on Twitter, do you think WWE should induct him in the Hall of Fame if AEW lets him or no? Because of WCW and all that.
I would like to see him, I guess, just on the because it means something to be in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
But he wasn't to me, that wasn't his home.
yeah,
Home was NWA and WCW. His home was not TNA. His home was
yeah.
not, I mean, that's not where he was. I don't even remember much of his run in
Because
what
the thing with WWE is I think they're starting to lean towards like how like the Basketball Hall of Fame is just all basketball. Like it's like there's no NBA Hall of Fame. It's just the Basketball Hall of
I
Fame.
think if they clarify it,
Because then
and
like
right,
for example, like think about like last year they had the Great Muta who never wrestled in WWE, but he was their headliner because it's just I think they're starting to be more of just a
run out of
wrestling
run out
like
of
a
people
wrestling Hall of Fame. You know what I mean?
and run out of
So yeah, so I don't know, if that's what they're gonna lean towards, if they're okay with doing stuff like that. Because I mean, it would be awesome to like see a guy like that. He deserves to be in a Hall of Fame. Obviously, AEW doesn't have one, so like it's AEW's whole roster would be in it. So like it's.
I think it would be amazing. I think but they'd have to couch it in a way where it's like we're doing it for the totality of his career,
Yeah,
for his 2 weeks in WWE. How long was he in WWE?
he
It
had
was
3 matches.
it was so short.
Yeah, I know he got hurt, which is what delayed it a lot. But then they just didn't. He had the match at Mania, and that was pretty much it.
Well, because and to your point about WWE, he was not the guy that was going to get on the mic and carry a storyline the way they did it. They did it right in WCW. He wasn't talking.
Yeah,
He was coming down from the rafters. I don't know. They never figured it out. Um, and in terms of AEW Revolution, I thought it was great. I thought the last three matches, from Will Ospreay to Takeshita, the championship match and Sting, made the whole thing. Like
I was a little upset with the championship match towards the end of
I
it.
was too.
But other than that, it was good. It could have been better in my opinion. I was expecting more, I guess, from
I
those
thought it
three.
would be more too. I thought there'd be more moves, more wrestling, more something.
I
And
just, like we've talked about, I mean, Swerve, it's just awesome to see a guy like that that really came into AEW as a guy that didn't really have a name for himself and has created himself in this enormous way. He's a very big name now, which is really cool to see.
wasn't he in WWE?
Yeah, that's my point. He came in there as an NXT guy. He never wrestled on the main roster. They released him, and then he went to AEW as a mid card guy, and now look at him.
So as I was saying, the funniest thing was on the Chiron at the beginning of the match when it said Samoa Joe 14-0 AEW World Champ, Swerve Strickland, whatever his record, and then for Hangman Page it said losing it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the funniest thing, and I was shocked that he was pulling the referee's leg out. He hit who did he hit Swerve with the belt or Joe?
Swerve, I'm pretty sure.
Swerve.
Yeah.
So are we now an official heel turn of Hangman Page?
Yeah, I
Because
mean, I guess that's what they're leaning towards, right? I mean, if it's not fully, it's definitely very like implied.
and do we like that? I don't even
Yeah,
know.
I don't mind it just because like I think I've always liked Page in the ring. It's just he needed. I mean, his character got very old in my opinion. It got very stale. He reminds me a lot of like a Sami Zayn who like just got very boring. You know what I mean? Like the same character over and over again. So I
Um,
don't mind it.
and you were right. I didn't think they would give it to Joe. I thought it was time for Swerve to be the champ. Where does this leave them?
I think he gets another rematch. I think, in my opinion.
Swerve and Joe maybe, and not Page and Page interferes.
Yeah, I mean, I just think they're waiting for MJF to come back. That's just kind of what it feels like. You know what I mean? I'm not really like that. It's now become like in my
Waiting
opinion,
for JF.
not even that. Like you have guys like Will Ospreay on the roster. Like just give him the belt. Like he's like, how is he not gonna be the champion? You know what I mean? Like
So yeah, I
you can
mean,
have him. He can hold the belt for 8 years. I don't even care. He's that good.
the Will Ospreay Takeshita match was the best match I've seen. I don't know if I mean, it's right up there.
That it's one of those matches where if someone said, I don't know what wrestling is, show me a match. A match you can put on. You know what I mean? That's a match you throw on and say, here, watch this, and sit there
When
and stare
they
at the
were,
screen.
I was like, I mean, every move was so
Which is
big.
so weird because like it's so crazy to see like how many guys like think about how many guys wrestle in all these companies. Like why is he just so much better than everybody else? It doesn't make any sense. Like how what did he figure out?
I don't know his athleticism and the delivery of the moves. And even when he's on the receiving end of a bump and he goes down and flips over,
Yeah.
there's such big intention. It's like big. It's like the moves are just so well executed. And the timing. I think it's the timing is so perfect. Takeshita's great too.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Osprey is just out of this world. And in that post media scrum post show, they were like, he has to work his way up. I'm like, how many matches do we have to wait for him to be the title holder? Like, work
Yeah.
his way up. Joe's like, he has to work his way up. I'm
Yeah.
like, he could beat you in 5 seconds. Um, but and also to your point, yes, I agree with you 100%. AEW has the best match per match, wrestler per wrestler wrestling. It
If
does
you
not
do like
have the
in my opinion, if you like just took the best guys in WWE and then took like all of like the AEW roster and then they like put them in WWE's I guess platform and the way they do things, it would be the best company. It would be an insane company. You know what I mean? It would be crazy. They both have. That's why I think it's so good, like the competition, and people talk about it. I mean, it's you have something that WWE, which will never die. I mean, it'll always sell. They'll always do Mania. They'll always have these big companies sponsoring them and all this stuff. But then you have AEW that, if you're a fan who likes more of that stuff, I mean, you can that's what you watch, and it's definitely good enough. So I mean, it's really cool to see. I mean, like Will Ospreay, I mean, he can literally put on a match with anybody. So it's definitely crazy to see.
So now what's the deal? So Kyle Fletcher comes out, who was with him in the other faction. They're going to wrestle each other on Friday, even though they're friends. And then Is he really going to be with the Don Callis family, or are they going to break off? I don't think Will Ospreay needs the Don Callis family group.
No, yeah, I mean, no, I don't think so
There has
either. I
to be
mean,
something there, maybe.
I think maybe just to have him like there a little for a little bit, but you know, as like a faction, but I don't know if he really needs it.
Uh, Talk to me about what happened with Sammy Guevara.
I've seen a lot of different things. They're saying it's not because of the Hardy thing, that it's something else, that they're just covering it up. I don't. There's no concrete details as of right now. But because like I said, you don't get suspended for doing a move that you hurt somebody. It's a mistake. So I don't know. Like I was looking today actually about it because it was all over Twitter, but I just don't know what actually happened. I mean, it's weird.
But to everybody that might watch this, or he came off the top rope and his knee hit Jeff Hardy in the nose and the head, right? Broke his nose.
Yeah, like I'm reading here, it says the the what people are saying, if that's what it really is, like the fight that Fightful reported was that it says referee approaches Jeff in the match. Jeff had gotten a concussion like before that.
Right.
They said referee approaches Jeff. Jeff says he can finish the match and basically puts it in concussion protocol, which means wrap it up, just pin him and get it over with.
Right. And they said
Then Sammy goes up to the top rope and does his finishing move and hits him in the face.
maybe that's the problem. They were supposed to, in concussion protocol, he was not supposed to do that move. He's supposed to just
No, he
pin.
was supposed to just pin him and then like put the
Yeah,
match.
that might
Yeah,
be it.
that
Because it
has
was
to be it.
concussion protocol. If the
Yeah,
guy's already injured,
which he
you
was.
going
You could
off
tell he
the
was.
rope and hitting him in the head again with your knee. And I love Sammy Guevara as a wrestler. I think he's most exciting one of the, but I don't know. There's like five
F
botched.
him. He's trying to kill my guy.
So what about the Jack Perry thing in this glass? What people were really going off on that too.
Yeah.
So where is Jack Perry? He was in that New Japan thing.
I think he's still there.
So is he just persona non gratis, or are they going to bring him back to go through glass? It
I guess
needs.
they'll bring him back. I just don't know why he's there. I was kind of confused by that. Unless he's like
Did
still
you see the
suspended.
video of him being lit on fire?
Yeah.
Is everyone insane in AEW? Like,
Well, you
what
have to be to work there.
what is he doing? I shouldn't say that. But I do agree with you. The storylines and the packages and the buildup, and when you're at a WWE event, it's built up so you're so invested in the match. The problem is sometimes the matches aren't as
Live up to it. Yeah.
just right. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes they just don't live up to it. And we were talking that like Logan Paul and Ricochet are like the two guys to me that are like they could do a lot of the moves.
Seth Rollins, you know.
Seth Rollins is
Yeah.
great. Talking about Seth Rollins, let's talk about Raw for just a second. I'm not liking this. Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes, Diarrhea Dwayne.
I'll just say that we talked we had to have an emergency episode basically after SmackDown because that's how good it was. I did not feel that way about Raw. You know what I mean? That's all I'll say. You know what I mean? Like when Roman Reigns and The Rock are in the ring, it feels like the biggest thing in wrestling, in all of wrestling. And the segment was 40 minutes long, and I watched all of it. And then you have The Rock, then you have Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, and it's like it feels like the B show. You know what I mean? And they're both great. It has nothing to do with them two. I just think The Rock and Roman Reigns are just overpowering them when it comes to star power and mic skills. And I don't know. I don't know. I'm just not. It's not clicking for me on Raw. It's just not. It's not clicking.
I don't understand the whole thing. I don't understand how Seth Rollins can just be, I'll be your buddy and I'm going to take down the bloodline.
I love. I mean, I'll
I
be
mean,
honest. Right now,
if it's true,
yeah.
great. But there's something that doesn't feel right
The
about that.
only thing I'll say is that if it's true and that's the storyline they're going with, that's going to be the reason he loses to Drew because he's so not focused. Like that's the storyline they're going with, and I really enjoy. That's the one thing about this whole thing that I really enjoy is that Drew is first of all the best character in the company. I think at this current moment right now,
Shocking.
he's
It
awesome.
was not, he had nothing to do.
No, and really enjoy, like the angle, like the thing of him running past him and getting pissed that he doesn't even look at Drew and he's so worried about the bloodline. Like it's awesome because he's telling him straight up, like, "Yo, like you look like an idiot. like begging to fight them when you have a match with me at Mania. You know what I mean? I definitely think Drew's gonna win, and I think that's gonna be the reason he loses Seth. Is that he's gonna be so focused on the bloodline.
So that leads me to believe like that match with, if we go on your theory, that match with Drew and Seth, if it's in night two,
It's gonna
and
be
it,
night two for sure.
right. So it's
Yeah.
ahead of Roman and Cody. Maybe at that point, Seth is pissed that he did all this for Cody, and then he turns on, helps screw Cody.
Well, think
Some
about it, because like at that point, they probably would have,
busted.
in my opinion, they probably would have lost to the tag in the tag match. And it's gonna be bloodline rules. Then best case scenario, like we've talked about, in my opinion, I think you agree, is Seth runs in there, caught, curb stomps Cody, whatever, and then The Rock jumps in there and then beats up Seth Rollins and then beats up The Rock and beats up Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? Because I also feel the same way about The Rock and Roman when it comes to that whole ending of the thing. And
The whole ending of the thing. How could that be?
I definitely think The Rock is playing up to that. You know, the whole thing with Roman's character is that he never thinks anyone's going to betray him, and he gets very high
Upset.
off of all that. So that's why The Rock's like, yeah, I'll acknowledge you because he's never going to see this coming. You know what I mean? It just feels so perfect in that way. But if they don't do that and they end up just going straight up Seth and Cody and they don't neither of them turn on each other, then they fooled me because I don't know if that's where they're going. But it's
Now,
definitely a very
now I'm
unique
thinking. Now I'm thinking.
WrestleMania.
Like, right. And now I'm thinking it's a double turn, which is what I said last time.
Hmm.
But now the double turn, it does. You're right. It won't happen in the tag match. It'll happen in the main
But they're
event.
setting up the thing with me is that they're setting up Cody and Rock so much that I think they're gonna want to do that match later on. So I don't know if they're gonna have it turn. I just don't know. And I mean, like, because I've been reading that Rock wants to fight at other pay-per-views. So I mean, like, I could so see the Rock and Cody headlining SummerSlam. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if they're gonna have the Rock turn on Roman yet. I think it'll be a very slow turn if that's not what they're doing.
So how does Roman lose to Cody? It's not going to be clean.
The only way I see it where it's exactly what we're saying is like I said before. Because I think they're teasing something with The Rock pointing back there and saying, not one man can stop me that works there, whatever. And I don't think it's gonna be Triple H because obviously he can't. I think it's gonna be like a guy I've been seeing rumors, like a guy like Stone Cold comes out, you know what I mean, at Mania, because him and The Rock have had their feud for all these years. You know what I mean? I definitely think they're setting something up. I don't think that's what they're
You don't
doing.
think for another swerve, just spitballing, you don't think, what if Cody and The Rock were in cahoots all along? And
Well,
all,
that's what people are
yeah,
saying.
I'm
That they're
saying,
having basically The
I'm
Rock do
saying, right.
secret agent into the bloodline
Yeah,
and totally
yeah,
cost them.
yeah. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
They're actually together, but I still am holding out that Seth goes back to the Shield thing. And I mean, that's where Roman could go if the bloodline all falls apart. I don't know. There's some
Yeah.
double turn here. And it's amazing that, which is so like soap opera, this is the same thing. We sit there and try to figure out what is the story. Jason came back from General Hospital. Is he a good guy? Is he bad? Is he going to turn on him? Why is he bad? Who's he infiltrating? What's he doing? We're literally talking about the same.
People are literally investigating whether or not The Rock doing this means anything or if he just forgets to put the bloodline up. You know what I mean? People are doing all these theory videos, even though I don't think it means anything. But people are saying, oh, like all this stuff. Like, I don't know. And like people are even throwing out that maybe The Rock and Paul Heyman are together secretly and are throwing the Roman Reigns under the bus. People are
I
even
don't
throwing
know.
that
I
theory
think
out there.
the one that I love though, I do kind of love if Cody and The Rock, he infiltrated the bloodline and they're actually,
And now is their conversation. Because think about it. I mean,
we don't know what the conversation was.
and even that, like people are saying, even like look at people that are theorizing that The Rock is going to cost Roman Reigns is like, look, when the first of all, The Rock is just like when he talks, he basically Roman Reigns just has a step to the side and everything. And people are saying like, look, there's no way the Roman Reigns is like wants to fight both nights. So they're saying The Rock doing that both nights thing is weakening Roman because he's gonna be weaker night two because he has to fight night one. And that's why The Rock is doing that because like he wants him to be weaker for Cody. And that's why he wants the Bloodline Rules match because then he's gonna be able to go in there and cost
Think
Roman the
it's
match.
really funny to me is we are all, like you, what you just said, we're all writing these great theories and matches that sometimes they never do.
Yeah, yeah,
And we've spent months going, oh, and then we go, like, didn't that happen at, was it at Royal Rumble? It was like, well, why were we thinking it was going to be different? It was exactly what we said, and we were
yeah,
theorizing, and we're like, it
yeah,
was right in front of us. You said it was right in front of us, and we were like, no, it's not going to be this, and they're
yeah,
basically telling you it is going to be this.
yeah. I mean, Cody's saying he's gonna finish his story. The only way he can is if he wins the Rumble, and none of us thought he was gonna win the Rumble. Like it didn't have.
When you get back to me from Spain, you tell me what the story is. I still don't understand what
So
finished
I
this.
mean, it sucks because Friday is gonna be an enormous episode of Raw. I mean, of SmackDown because they're gonna be face to face for the first time.
Do you get that? How will you get that?
So I mean, the only way I'll be able to watch is like on my phone, like on these websites. But like, so it'll be 8 Eastern, 8 Eastern Friday night.
And you're
It'll be
6 hours ahead there of
it'll
that,
be
3 in the morning.
it'll be 2 in the morning, Saturday morning. So
So our emergency show would have to be like a Saturday at
like you'd have to wake up at 9 a.m. and I'd have to be like
7.
7.
I
Yeah,
could do 9 a.m. Saturday, but
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
If anything crazy happens, we'll do like a 30-minute show from Madrid
live from Madrid.
on my balcony.
Here's the balcony. Here's the thing.
Yeah,
Quickly wrapping up, Paul Heyman gets inducted in the Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Fame.
perfect choice.
What do you think of Paul as a choice?
I mean, Philly. I mean, it's awesome. That's gonna be one of the best speeches.
And
I'm very excited
let's
for
tell
that.
everybody because ECW, Philly, Paul
Yeah,
Heyman, all it was a perfect. It's perfect.
and then I think they just announced someone today.
Madonna, the girl, the woman, Bull
Yeah,
Madonna. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I would really like to see Batista because he still hasn't been in it yet. I don't know why.
You have to wait X amount of years before you get in.
I don't think they have a like thing like sports.
Not like sports.
Yeah, but there's usually like three more, so we'll definitely get more leading up to the event.
They put Sting
Um,
in there
but the
because
one thing I'll say that we could touch on really quick
they put
before I
Sting in there this year.
see, that's the thing. People are saying to throw Sting in there, but then I don't know if he's still on contract with AEW. I don't know how that works when you retire. Are you still under contract? I don't know how that works. So, one thing I'll say is that somebody highlighted that I told my uncle, I'm very intrigued to see what they do with Paul Heyman, when two enormous decades of his career were with Brock Lesnar. So I wonder if they're gonna talk about that, and they have to. You know what I mean? You can't not. So
I
I
know.
mean, like, I don't
Yeah.
know. That's a
CM,
very big part of his career. 2 huge parts of his career are with someone that they're literally throwing out of the company. So I don't know what they're
what
gonna
do you
do there.
think? You're gonna have to thank Brock Lesnar.
I mean, you have to. I mean, you literally have to. At that point, you can't care.
And what do you think in wrapping up? We have two quick things here. We've got to remember CM Punk is around. He's able to do things.
He's being advertised for the last Raw before Mania and the last SmackDown before Mania, and they're saying they're Fightful reported he will be involved, and at some capacity.
Yeah. And the other thing is this Gunther match is looking really shitty to me.
Yeah, I just thought a Mania match would have been a little bit bigger. I mean, it's probably gonna be Gable, in my opinion, or Sammy. Those are the only two that I think would
The
be
only
good
two that I
matches.
could see in there.
But I don't know. It just sucks. I would have loved to see like a guy like Braun Breaker get like a match at Mania against him. You know what I mean? Like a guy like that.
But
But I don't know.
shouldn't they have given Gunther a big match with somebody big?
Yeah, I mean, I guess all your big guys are doing freaking double duty at Mania now.
Right. I
So,
mean,
but
because I heard it
dude,
was
the
gonna
match will be great. I personally just would have I would have rather liked to see like a six-man ladder match with all of them in it. Why and instead of just a one-on-one. You know what I mean? Um, and then what was I gonna say? Oh, and then there's reports that Cena is gonna be at Mania at some capacity. Like whether they said not don't expect anything crazy, but it'll be something like fun and memorable. They
he'll come
want him
out
to
and
be there.
do a little segment or
Yeah,
something.
maybe with one of the younger guys like he does. But then I was gonna say, so he did a podcast with Chris Van Fleet, that got released yesterday, an hour long. It's very good. And he asked him, "What was your favorite WWE title run?" and he says my next one, Cena. So he goes, "Oh, there's gonna be a next one." He goes, "Well, he goes, listen." He goes, I definitely keep saying that I'm near the end, but he goes, it's not tomorrow." He goes, "I'll tell you right now, I'm not retiring tomorrow." So he goes, "Just be prepared." So I mean, I really hope they do one last good run with him. He deserves it. I mean, I hate the way they've been treating him lately. He needs to be more selfish, and
Rematch to everybody.
unbiasedly, he should be the one to break Ric Flair's record. So I mean, that's my opinion.
All right. So what we have coming up, we still have coming up Friday Night SmackDown, which is supposed to be Seth, Roman, Cody, Rock all
That's
together.
gonna be the big ending to it.
Big thing. We have next week Mercedes Monet, big debut,
Let's
big
see
finish.
it. I mean, let's see. There's no concrete.
I'm
It's
hoping
not concrete
hoping
yet.
it's great because that's a big deal, right?
Yeah, I
You love
wanted her back. I wanted her back in the.
it.
Oh, and then another thing about AEW in the podcast, Chris Van Fleet asked him about MJF because they were together at the Iron Claw premiere, and Cena told him straight up. He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "I did tell him, you're doing great work, but I mean, I hope one day we'll get you to the other side." He goes, "I know." He goes, "I hope one day we can get you to the good guys." He said.
I was gonna say there was this amazing. The Oscars are this Sunday, and there was an amazing review in Entertainment Weekly about why the Iron Claw and Zac Efron, they did not push that. That should have been an Oscar nominated film, and
So
Zac should have been
good. So
Oscar
good.
nominated. They were saying he was so snubbed, and they were saying the way A24, the company behind the film, they were pushing their other films, two other films that and that Iron Claw came out too early.
Yeah.
If it would have come out a little later, but they literally said what we said, that Zac Efron was so fantastic and the film is so great that it's incredible to me how it is nothing.
I rewatched it recently at home because it came out like on streaming whatever, and it was even better. When we were sobbing in my bed by myself watching Iron Claw.
Saddest thing. The saddest thing. He was a great. I love that movie, and I'm kind of like,
And it's so funny because I just watched me and my friend just watched it's like 3 in the morning and we were bored. And we watched one of like Zac Efron's like funny movies that it's like really funny and like stupid. And it's crazy watching that and then like watching Iron Claw and like
yes,
how well he can do every role. I mean, like then you have like go back to High School Musical, like it's insane.
they were
Like
bringing that up. They're like, did they not take Zach seriously? Because
I seriously think he's one of the most underrated. He's underrated. He doesn't get talked about enough. He's
I
very diverse in what he does.
and I was
Like
blown
very.
away, blown
Yeah.
away. And it was John Cena. Was it John Cena? I want to just check something. I thought it was John Cena who talked about Zach Efron. Yeah, because he's in a film with him.
Oh, yeah,
Ricky,
they just came out with Ricky
right,
Stenicki.
Nikki. And he commented on how great um Zach Efron is. He just gave him complete props.
Yeah.
That's yeah, he said he was excellent in the movie. He gave him high praise.
Hmm.
But the Oscars are happening and he's not nominated. So there you go. All right. Off to Spain you go. Por favor.
I have to get some I brought I was packing and washing my clothes and I took out my CM Punk sweater and I put it in my luggage because
They'll be like CM Punk, who?
I'm taking it with me. I'm gonna showcase him around there.
Do you know what the weather's like?
It's like not it's definitely like a little bit nicer than here, but it's not like super hot. So it's not gonna be like
That's
beach
good.
weather. But it's
That's
it's
good.
chill. Like you walk around and stuff.
And how are you flying? You going out of New York?
So we're
Wait,
flying out of Newark Airport
Newark.
International.
And where do
So
you
on
go?
the way back is nonstop, but on the way there, so we leave at 6:50 p.m. today. We get to Belgium at at like 8 a.m. because of the like time difference. It'll go like ahead.
8 a.m. Europe time.
Their up time, and then we are in Belgium for like an hour and 50 minutes, and then we fly to Madrid. That's our connecting flight. So my
Okay, so
friend
So your first flight isn't that bad. You're getting to Europe in the first flight.
Yeah, 7 hours to Europe and then 2 hours to Spain. But my friend keeps telling me how because he's done this flight before. He keeps telling me how we're gonna eat Belgian waffles in the airport as breakfast because they're so good.
Those are
So
great.
he's so excited. He's so excited. He's like, you can't
And you
wait.
and you get a week there? How long are you there?
Yeah, it's 7 full nights, and then I leave.
I'm very worried that when you go, all shit's gonna go down in
Yeah.
wrestling, right? It's gonna go like, oh my God, oh my God. And then we are anxiously awaiting to find out in 2 days or 3 days
Yeah.
if we get our credentials for WrestleMania.
And then we're like 2 weekends away, and then it's there.
And we're
So I
like
mean,
not ready. So there
yeah,
we go. We've got a lot to discuss. All right. Have a wonderful, wonderful time. Enjoy
thank you.
yourself. Take
Yes,
pictures, send
I
photos,
will.
Instagram,
And my CM Punk sweater.
CM Punk sweater. All right, everybody. We'll see you, if not for Saturday morning of the special edition.
Yeah,
We'll see you in a week or so.
yeah.